Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I am in the process of making these little folios for my Patreon members, and I figured, well, why not film while I'm making one, and I'll do a tutorial. I did a tutorial showing how to make this one back several years ago, but it was in the middle of a blizzard and we lost power, and so the end of the video is not really what I wanted it to be. So I'm just kind of redoing an old classic from my channel. What this is a folio that can hold your ephemera. It makes a really great Happy Mail gift as well. And my Patreon members are going to get one kind of partially made. I'm going to do all the folding and cut the pockets and whatnot, but they're going to be able to put them together themselves. It's very simple to do, and it has this closure made with the tag that I love. I love doing this. But you just open it up, and it has a variety of different pockets. Since this is butterfly paper, I decided to store all of my butterfly ephemera in here. We have portrait and landscape orientation pockets. So this is a good tutorial to learn how to make all kinds of different pockets for your journals too. We have diagonal pockets. We have side-loading pockets like this. And I also made these little teeny weeny pockets to put my little stamps in, which I think these are super adorable. And this is a single double band belly band. On this one I made a double belly band, and it just closes up with a little bit of twine. And I'll just show you this one quickly. This one's probably going to go in my shop at some point. And again, a tag closure. And this one I printed off the vintage ads kit from my shop. I printed the ads onto a heavier cardstock and put them in here. And the pockets are arranged in a very different style from the other ones. You can make the pockets and you can put them on any one of the pages you want. So this has two angle pockets that you can kind of put things in like this. And this one has two belly bands. So it's a real versatile project. These are two bigger pockets that I didn't put in the other one. You can put the pockets in any way you want. By the way, the bound volume members are also receiving a file folder junk journal that I made. The bound volume tier always receives a soft cover journal every month. And this is one that I made back in, I don't remember what month it was, but I sent everybody William Morris file folders and a digital kit to go with this, and then a tutorial. We made these together. So somebody in the bound volume is going to get this one. Really pretty. That was part of the digital. So I hope you've been enjoying the journals that you've been getting so far. I'm having a lot of fun making them. So let's make one together, and my Patreon members are going to get this video ads-free. Sorry in advance for the glare. This is a quick project, so let's do the cutting and scoring first, and then we'll put everything together, including the closure. And then if this goes as quickly as I think it will, we'll add a few more extra pockets at the end. I'm going to make another butterfly one, I guess, so I'm going to take out two pieces. I might need a third. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I am going to need a third. And let's just cut the base first. So we're going to need one piece that is 11.5 by 9. If you are using a piece of paper that has an orientation to it, you want the 9-inch cut to be this way, because that is the height of the little folio. So this will be 9 inches here. Save this for pockets and belly bands and things. And then this is going to be 11.5. So put that over here in my project pile. The next piece we're going to need is a piece that's 9.5 by 9. So remember I said 9 goes this way. Saving that. And 9.5 is going to go this way. And yes, we do need a third piece, but you can use a scrap for this if you don't want to cut up another piece of paper. I'm looking to see what I have here. I think to add a little interest, I'm going to use this other piece of paper. As much as I hate to use this, knowing it's the last pad on earth, I'm done hoarding things. This piece is going to be 4.5 by 9. So again, 9 is going to go this way. And 4.5 this way. And then we have this nice big piece here for pockets. So that's our base. Then let's make the angle pockets. We need to make 4 angle pockets, and I'll tell you why, because the first cut, I have some offcuts here, but the first cut is only going to give you your right side, unless you have two-sided paper. Then you only need one, but I'm using single-sided paper, so this is what I would end up with if I just used one square of paper. So you have to cut your right side and your left side separately if you are using single-sided paper. This will make a little more sense later on. So we're going to do the right side angle pocket, and we're going to need a piece that is 5.5 by 6.5. So when we open this up, we're going to make this little folio here that our angle pockets go on. This side is larger than this side, so we can't make the same size angle pocket. I mean, we can't use the 5.5 by 6.5 because it's going to be too big for this side. That's another reason why we have to make 4 of them. And I did that because I like the layers. So I didn't want everything to be all flush to the edge. So get another piece of paper. Cut this one at 5.25 by 6.5. Okay, so that we don't get these mixed up, this smaller piece, well, let's do the larger piece first. Okay, so this is 5.5 by 6.5. We're putting it in portrait orientation, turning it to the left, and we're putting it in the cutter so that the points are exactly at the edge of your cutting area, and we're going to slice it. There is our right pocket. You can save this for another project, or we could use it elsewhere in the folio. This one, the smaller one, 5.5 by 6, again, you have it in portrait orientation, but you're going to turn it to the right and cut. And this is going to give you your left pocket. I remember years ago when I first started making mini albums, it took me hours to figure this out. And I kept thinking, this has got to be so easy. What is so hard about this? And I walked away, and hours later came back, and aha, I had an aha moment. So this took me a while to figure out, but now I've got it down. So this is the right pocket and the left pocket, and that's pretty simple to remember. But if you want to put a little R and an L on the back just to not lose your place, then that's okay. And we have 2 angle pockets that we can use elsewhere if we choose to do that. And then we we have 2 choices for pockets. We have a nested pocket, I like to call it. So you have this pocket here, and then nested into this pocket is this second pocket. We can do that. There's also a choice of doing a pocket and a pocket so that they are side-loading pockets. I don't remember the measurements. They are going to be, let's see, 5.5 by 4. With this nice cutter, with this nice trimmer, I can do 2 at a time. So there are those. And then we need our closure. You do have a lot of scraps left over after you do this project that are 3 inches wide. You can use one of these scraps. I normally do a tag that's 3.5 inches wide or 4 inches wide, but 3 inches wide will work perfectly well too. And so your tag, I'm going to do mine 3.5 though, because I have this nice scrap. So it doesn't matter whatever width you want, 3, 3.5, 4, whatever you choose, by 5.5. I'm going to do 3.5 by 5.5. 3.5 by 5.5. Okay, let's put the trimmer away and get out your scoreboard if you have one. If you don't, just draw pencil marks and fold. You also can, if you have one of these, kind of trimmers, you can use this, put your paper under there and use that to what's the word I'm looking for? Score. But I think if you're doing paper crafting, a scoreboard is a really good investment. And if you're in my Patreon, I do have a coupon code over there for 10% off the score tape and the scoreboards. So let's start with the tag. This is the piece that is 3.5 by 5.5. We're going to turn it, I'm going to turn it this way. So the top of your tag is up here and the bottom is here. Is that right? Yes. And we're going to score at 3 3/4. I'm going to score twice because this paper's a little thick. This is the part that is going to, so it's going to wrap around your book like this. I'm going to go ahead and angle it. If you don't have one of these angle punches, that's okay too. I've shown you in the past how you can actually use this line on your cutting mat, or you can just snip off an edge, flip it over, and use that as the template to snip your other side, because you do want your angles to be uniform. I will punch a hole in the top. And that is just about ready to go. We'll put that up here. Next we have our right and left angle pockets. And what you're going to do for this is put it in your scoreboard and score on the 2 straight sides, not the angled side. 2 straight sides, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. So we're going to do this and this. And then this one, instead of putting it like this, just turn it so it fits in like that. We're going to do 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. That is all scored. These are our side loading pockets, so we don't want to score on this end. We want to score on the other 3 sides, here, here, and here. So 2 short sides and 1 long side at 1/2 inch. Whoops. One long side, 2 short sides. Okay, those are our additions to our folio. Let's make the folio. Easy peasy. We're going to take the piece that is 4.5 by 9, and on the left hand side we're just going to score at 1/2 inch. This is the 9.5 by 9 piece, so you're going to have the 9.5 inch portion at the top of your scoreboard. We're going to score at 4 3/4 and 5 1/4. And let's go ahead and fold that. And what that gives you is almost like a little spine, okay? And it's not even, and I do that on purpose because I'm trying to build layers here. I don't want everything to be like this. So it's okay if that happened to you. That's how it's supposed to be. Let's take our last piece, which is our base, and we're just going to score this in half. So I have the 11.5 side at the top, and we're going to score it in half at 5 3/4. And you can just go ahead and fold that in half. See how easy this all was? All right. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out this 4.5 by 9 inch piece, and let's fold it on that score line to get it ready, and adhere some tape. You can use glue, certainly. If you watch me, you know that glue hates me. It never cooperates with me, and so I use score tape. I would not recommend using a glue stick for this because glue sticks do not last over time. They dry, the glue dries out, becomes brittle, and your project will fall apart. So tape or glue would be the preferred adhesive. So you're going to take your base here that we folded in half, and all we're going to do is we're going to fold that flap down and put that on top here. You want to put it all the way over to the edge. And how I like to work when I'm adhering something with tape is I like to put I'm right-handed, so I put my upper left-hand corner on first, and I adhere that down, but now I still have the ability to pivot this. I move it to make sure that it's nice and even and flush across the top, and eyeball it on this side, and then I put it down. And it almost always ends up being perfectly straight and flush. That is our first piece. The next thing we're going to do is, and this is going to be covered up, so we don't need to worry about that. It's going to be covered up with this little booklet piece. Let's put some tape on this spine. Let's take the tape off. Now, you do want to flatten the spine out, but make sure that you flatten it out so that you get this two-dimensional look. If you do it this way, of course it's going to be, if you're doing directional paper, it's going to be upside down. But you do want to flatten this out so that the shorter side is on top. And where we are covering over then this hinge that we did. So we're going to put it on here, but keep it 1/8 of an inch away from this crease. If it's too close, this is not going to close properly. So I'm going to do the upper left, make sure that this is all flush across the top. Make sure that it's nice and even going down the crease here, and it is, and now I can adhere it down. So this is what we have so far. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 really nice layers. And then we have another layer that we can open up here and the back. This is a little plain. If you're using double-sided paper, this isn't going to happen, but I really like this paper. And if you see what I did on the butterfly one, I just went through and I stamped it with butterflies. I have a stamp and I used Tim Holtz Vintage Photo and stamped it. And this here, I did a belly band, and oh yeah, and I just kind of stuck something in there. I got a lot of these butterflies from Your Creative Studio, so I just put that in there to cover up the brown a little bit so it can be decorated, is my point. The next thing we want to do before we finish decorating is we want to put our closure on, because we're going to adhere it with brads and they're going to be sticking out here, and we want to make sure that those get covered up. So let's get the tag out, and we already scored it. It's going to go on like this. Make sure that you have the front pointing to the front. It's going to go on like this and adhere with some brads. So the first thing I want to do is, I don't measure, or I try not to, unless I'm making a really precise mini album, but junk journals and folios and stuff like that, yeah, I just eyeball things. So about, about 1/2 inch up. I'm just going to line this on my cutting mat here, and about 1/2 inch up. I'm just going to eyeball, I think more like 1/4 inch up. Yeah, I'm just going to eyeball two places for my brads. Punch a couple of holes. You can have 2 brads, 3 brads. You could have another one in the middle here if you wanted. And then I'm going to fold this over and move it around to where I want it, and mark with my pencil inside those holes. Hopefully I'll be able to see them on this busy paper. And I'm just going to pop these through. I do have a crocodile that will reach pretty far in and help with the holes, but I've done this before, and these little brads just go right through with no problem. Let's put these in there. Now let me flip this around and open it up first. I like to put them vertical like this. Sometimes, depending on how you decorate, it's easier to cover it up if you have them both going in the same direction. And then when I do brads like this, I like to just press them down into my desk. And that's what that looks like. I should have inked this up before I did that. I forgot. Kind of trying to make this a short video. But. Okay. And we will adhere we can decorate this and adhere the twine a little later. But I want to finish this. Let's do our angle pockets next. Remember, we have a right one and a left one. It should be pretty obvious to you which one is which at this point, now that they're all cut out and scored. Let's put tape. Okay, now if you turn it over, and this is the rule of thumb really for any time you're scoring, you're gonna see this, and you probably already noticed this, but there's a box here. There's a box there. You want to cut that off. I usually just miter it just like this. I do a little angle here and a little angle there, and that's what it should look like. I'm gonna do the same here. Okay, then we're gonna fold our flaps under, and you'll notice that we still have a little bit more trimming to do. Burnish that down so you get a nice flat pocket. And you see how we have these little things sticking out? We want to just trim those off. And then we're going to put those on here. This is what we have so far. Next, let's do our two little side-by-side pockets. So if you go this flap and then we have diagonal pockets, it's on the very next page. It's going to be on here. And that's these two scored like this, and they are the 5.5 by 4. Let's put the tape on. Just like with every pocket, we're going to miter the corners where those boxes are. Fold at the score line, give it a good burnish. As much as I hate to cover up this page, well, can't have it all. On this one, start from the bottom and go up because you might have to overlap this pocket just a tiny, tiny bit. There. And if you really give it a good burnish right there in the middle, nobody's even going to know. It really is not. A 1/16 of an inch does not a tragedy make. Here we go. We've got our two side loading pockets. Let's make, since we've finished these, let's make two pockets that nest into each other on this first page. I cut two pieces that are 3.5 by 5, and then we are going to score on two short sides and one long at 1/2 inch. For these, we are going to tape them, but one of them does not need tape on the bottom. Oops, I put tape across the bottom of this. That's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. All right, on this one, we are going to miter the corners. Fold up all three edges, all three flaps, I should say, and we're going to put it down on the page. So the bottom pocket goes on first. Okay, that's going to go, make sure it goes all the way to the edge of your page, because if you go over too far this way, if you don't leave 1/8 of an inch in here, then you're not going to be able to close your flap. And burnish it down really well, because again, it will just be a little too bulky initially. Now this one, we're going to measure up You don't have to measure, but just if some of you like measurements. Let me take this tape off first. I don't need that. I didn't mean to put that on there. We're going to go up, oh, about an inch. Yeah, about an inch. You can also do this in the scoreboard too, so that you know where you're going to cut. And then for this one, we're going to cut down from that 1 inch and just angle it. It doesn't really matter. This part here does not have to be neat, because what we're going to do, and you might have to make another cut if it's not deep enough. Mine needs a little bit more right here. But you see we're folding in the flaps, and then we're going to nest this inside. That's why I call this a nesting pocket. I don't think that's my term that I made up. That might be what this is called. I do not know. And it's going to go inside like that. Okay, so now we have a pocket here and a pocket here, a little nesting pocket. Wonderful. Our pockets here. The large double pockets would be nice on here. We could do a belly band on here, a double belly band if we wanted. We could do, I have some extra angled pockets. I could put one on here. So many options. Let's do a belly band on here. I have this scrap here. Why don't I do that and give it a little pop of color, because it's still distressed and vintage looking. And then I could maybe do a double belly band like this. So have a fatter belly band and then a more skinny belly band. I think that's what I'll do. So this piece here doesn't matter how tall you make it, but it needs to be 6 inches long. And then I'm just going to score it. It just happened to be the right size. I'm going to score it 1/2 inch on each side, tape it and adhere it down. And then I'll do another one here. This one is about 1 inch. Yep, exactly 1 inch wide. I'm going to cut it down to 6 inches. Score it at 1/2 inch. And adhere it to the top of this. You can do double belly bands. So you can do a belly band here and a belly band here. You can do a bit larger belly band and put a thinner one on top. So many options. Beautiferous. So we can put things in here and we can put things in here. And now we have all this luscious real estate here that we want to do something with. We need to cover these over. So this page we do need to cover with something. Okay, so we know this is 9 inches high, and I forgot how wide this is. We should do just under 5 3/4 because we don't want to go all the way to the edge. Let's put this on here. What I always like to do is I'm going to put tape on this piece, but I like to put extra tape over the brads just to hold them down and help secure them a little better, since they're going to be getting a lot of use, holding on to our closure. And then for these larger pockets here, we need to cut 2 pieces that are 6.5 by 4.5. And these are landscape pockets. So I'm gonna score 2 shorts and 1 long at 1/2 inch. Fantabuloso, and then our back cover. So here's what we have so far. We have our first flap with our nesting pocket. This is plain. I could put another angle pocket there. This sheet of paper was, let's see, this was 4.5 by 6. And then I cut it on the diagonal. I was experimenting with a bunch of different sizes earlier, and I have a whole bunch of extra pieces here, so I'd like to use them. Burnish it down. Okay. Cover, nesting pocket, angle pocket, and we have 2 angle pockets. We have the side loading pockets. We have a double belly band. We have our large ephemera pockets, and we have our closure. The last thing to do really is just to take some kind of embroidery floss, or I like to use baker's twine and put it through here. I normally do put a brad through, but I run out of a lot of things at the end of the month when I'm doing my Patreon kits. I got this baker's twine at the dollar store. They had little packs with 3 different colors. This one, blue, black, and I think the other one was red. You need enough to be able to go around at least once and tie. On one of these I put way too much, but better to have too much than not enough, because you can always cut. Oh, see, on this one, yeah, I did put a brad. You can always trim, but you can't add. What is that saying? Tell me what that saying is in the comments below. You can always, I know it's cut once, measure twice, but I forget what that other saying is. I'm just going to tie this on. And then it wraps around, and you can tie this together here, or you can just wrap it around and kind of stick it under, whatever you want to do. There's just a lot of options for you to put your own personal style into these little folios.